Man City beat Liverpool in a game which completely changed after 20 minutes. Liverpool started the game well, they had their chances. Mohamed Salah missed a clear chance when Mohamed really played him on goal, but couldn't take off. I don't know why he took a lot of chances, which ended up making Kuznov come in to give a block. I think we all know that a Salah who is confident would have brought that ball on his right and taken a shot. Also, the instances where he had shots on goal, but it looked like he was not sure of himself. Man City got into the game, then Virgil van Dijk gave a penalty. I don't think I can much debate about it. That's a clear penalty, which Erling Haaland dispatched. And after Liverpool conceded the first goal, it looked like heads had dropped. The players were no longer showing any desire hunger to win the ball back. The good momentum they showed in the first 20 minutes where Ekitike had a chance, Vert was involved in the attack, all that seemed to disappear. And everything just completely dropped. Erling Haaland finished the half with another goal. When we were checking, Semenyo played a nice interplay. Semenyo gave a cross and Haaland scored to make it 2-0. And after the restart, Semenyo again scored after Ryan Cherki played a nice through ball in cutting Liverpool's defense open to make it 3-0. Erling Haaland then later scored the third to complete his hat-trick and make it 4-0. This was a poor performance again from Liverpool, which raises more questions about Arne Slot and whether he will still be the Liverpool manager following the end of this season. Because if we are being honest, he has not really. It looks like all the good work he had at the beginning of the season is gone, and evident to the fact that after system, Liverpool fans were leaving the stadium. They couldn't even bother to just wait for the closure of the match. Considering that Liverpool were league champions this past season, it's not a good look. Also, this is the first time they've lost to Manchester City three times in I think 89 years. The last team to beat them three times in a season was West Ham in the 15-16 season. Mohamed Salah. What do we even say about Mohamed Salah? Send-off season has been atrocious for Liverpool. He missed another penalty today. To look past his best, he was not clinical like we have come to know expect from him, and I think it was good for all parties that he's actually leaving. And the sooner the season ends and then he leaves, the better, because this, I'll not say tarnishing his legacy, but it's sad to watch a legend looks like a shadow of his former self, where simple things that used to come naturally to him look so he struggles with it. He struggles to keep to with the thing that he once could do, and it's sad to see. Liverpool are just going through a rut, and now it begs the question to see if they can even qualify for the Champions League, because they'll be with the way they are playing, even not even looking ahead of the Champions League. I'm going ahead of myself. No, I'm being qualified for Champions League. They do play PSG in midweek, and you wonder what the score could be, because if Manchester City could score 4 against them, and PSG could basically embarrass Liverpool, which wouldn't be a surprise to anyone considering the way they are playing. I think if Chelsea took 8 from PSG, Liverpool have the potential of taking the same amount of goals. The attack looks blunt, the midfield looks weak, and the defense looks non-existent. Everything that was great about Liverpool last season has fallen off a cliff this season, and it continues to show with the repeated struggles. They struggle to win back-to-back games. Even when they create chances, they struggle to finish. Their forward line looks dead. Ekitike has been carrying for most of the season, but he seems to be a bit out of form. And Liverpool are just not in a great place. But with Man City, they did what they had to do, building off the convincing win in the Carabao Cup final against Arsenal. They built up on that, and now they continue to march on. And this also gives them great confidence. I think they are favourites to win the FA Cup now, considering the teams remaining are Southampton, Chelsea, Manchester City, and I've forgotten the last team. But right now they seem to be clear favourites to win the trophy, and who knows, at this point a season that didn't start too well could end up becoming one of the best seasons, for not the very best season, but they could end up finishing the season on a high with the number of trophies to play for. And also the fact that they are not playing in the Champions League means they have midweeks to rest, which Arsenal don't. Personally, I'm starting to think they have a chance. They could potentially pip Arsenal to the league title. Now, speaking of Arsenal, let's switch to Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal. Where do we start from? This was a rotated squad with some players missing also out due to injury, but Arsenal shouldn't be struggling against Southampton. This is a match where a team fighting for the league in England should finish their job, take their chances, and move on to the next game. But it looked like they struggled to create chances like they always do. They couldn't, like, it's the story of Arsenal season where they struggle to create chances, so every time we like rely on set piece. And yeah, I don't honestly, Arsenal are starting to spiral a bit. Maybe I'm being a bit dramatic, but Arsenal are starting to spiral because the second half performance against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final was just abysmal, and things are not looking that great. Yeah, they should have a Champions League match against Spurs, which I think they should be fine with. But Arsenal's lack of cutting edge is still apparent. And let's give a shout out to Southampton because I'm sure most people were not expecting Southampton to get anything from this match, but they showed heart. They took their chances and then moved on and won. Now they're in the semi-finals. Yeah, so now I know this. There's going to be a lot of questions about Arsenal's mentality and if they're starting to bottle it. Personally, I will, as someone, I'm not an Arsenal fan and I don't really care if they win the league, but I just like to have them win it so that talk could just go away. But I know it's not going to, with this loss, it's just not going to go away. And the same issues I can talk about, lack of cutting edge, not taking their chance, not creating enough mistakes, and their mentality to be questioned whether they have the skill to cope under pressure. And ultimately, if Arsenal are to go to Fletcher, I think Mikel Arteta won't be there next season. Even if he is, I think if Arsenal have to go through any small trials, the fans are likely to turn him because watching Arsenal play is not actually the best. And to be missing, to not win silverware at the end of the season when the season started so well, yeah, I think that's going to be a big problem. Now let's switch over to La Liga. Yeah, Chelsea beat Port Vale 7-0, but I don't think we need to spend that a lot of time on that match considering Chelsea expected to win anyway. Yeah, they also had more of the ball, a lot of possession, but lack of cutting edge, which La Liga. Real Madrid lost to relegation threatened Mallorca in a match which could potentially have handed the league title to Barcelona. Real Madrid had a lot of chances, and if it wasn't for the billions of Real Madrid could have easily won this goal. He made beauty against Ada Gule, Mbappe, amongst others. Real Madrid had a lot of the ball, they created a lot of the ball, but Bernardo was able to make the most of it. Also, deceive errors. They made a lot of mistakes. But after Mallorca scored the first goal, they sat deep. Real Madrid had a chance, attack, and finally they got a breakthrough from Adam Militao, whose header after Trent crossing made the tie. Sorry, let me see. Real Madrid ended up equalizing in the 88th minute when there was a cross from Trent Alexander-Arnold, which was headed by Adam Militao. This brought games all over, and we thought Real Madrid would do their voodoo of comebacks, but that didn't work. And as you know, defensive errors led to Vedat Muriqi scoring, and what a week for him. After missing out of the World Cup with Kosovo, he ends up ending the week on a high by scoring the winner and potentially handing him Barcelona the league title. Also, Muriqi put up a strong performance. He has 19 league goals this season. I know he's not a big name, so he'll not be talked about a lot, but considering he's playing a relegation threatening team, that's impressive. And so now, if you look at both games today, both Real Madrid and Liverpool, Real Madrid couldn't cope with the pressure of going down and couldn't react after going down. If you look at both games, I'm talking about Real Madrid, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. This match was frantic. Both teams were going for it end to end, and there was the referee has allowed a lot of things to flow back. Then there was an issue of red card, which, okay, no, I'm getting a bit of myself. Atletico Madrid had their chances. Griezmann had his chance, couldn't take. Barcelona had some half chances. Lamine Yamal hit the post, but then tempo started to slow down a bit. Atletico Madrid then had scored a goal when I think Lenglet played a nice ball which sliced through Barcelona's defense for Juliano Smith to score a goal to make it 1-0. 3 minutes later, Marcus Rashford scored to make it 2-1. Sorry, to make it 1-1. That's when, after that goal, things started to flip. They didn't really show the replay of what happened. I think Danny Olmo might have said something to Juliano Smith after a foul, which prompted a reaction out of pushing and shoving. They started brandishing cards out. So that then, for halftime, Nico Gonzalez earlier in the match got a yellow card for catching the ball, which honestly, I didn't know why he tried to do that. Maybe because Lamine Yamal was behind him, but then he ended up missing a chance. That yellow card ended up coming to bite him back, considering that yellow card ended up coming to bite him back, considering he made a rash tackle again, which caused him a red card, a straight red. I don't know why VAR. I guess VAR to intervene because he wanted to clarify whether it's a second yellow red card, but both of them had the same outcome for the match, and I don't know why it took so long. So the first half finished 1-1. Atletico Madrid were down to 10. The second half started, and Jad Martin got a red card. Yeah, I think if he had not, the match started to go in a pattern of where Barcelona attack and let Madrid stay in defense. And as the game continued to go on, it looked like everything, the result might be a draw. The Musso spilled it. Robert Lewandowski used his shoulder to Kending to make it 2-1. And yeah, now it looks like the title is now firmly in Barcelona's grip with 7 points, and I think 8 games to go in this season. It means Barcelona have realistically could lose two games and still win the league. And yeah, this is the first trilogy of matches between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, with 2 to come, one in the first leg and the second leg of the Champions League. So yeah, that was all this week today's action, and let me know what you guys thought. And who do you think Arsenal can recover from this loss to Southampton, or do you think it will have an impact on them from the league? And also, do you think we might have a chance of catching Barcelona? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, and also let us know your thoughts and also how we can improve the video. I'm your host, Seth. Peace.